Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to the Kingdom Revolution podcast. Today we're going to be talking about 3 things that I wish I knew in the beginning stages of my business. These 3 things make up what I call the 3-point customer life cycle.
Welcome to the Kingdom Revolution podcast, where we are redefining faith and online business to empower you, the Christian woman, to find your voice, clarify your calling so that you can create, grow, and scale your online business by God's design without sacrificing your faith or values. You know that you've been called to business and you want to do it God's way, not the world's way. You have that inner desire to change your mindset, change your family's legacy, and take your passions, knowledge, life experiences, or even that hobby that you love and create a profitable online business, bringing a heavenly solution to an earthly problem. Maybe you have too many ideas. You're not even quite sure where to start, or you're just looking for that next step. Maybe you've been struggling for a few months, even years, duct taping it all together with worldly tactics and strategies that just leave you confused, overwhelmed, and questioning your calling. And you find yourself asking, did I even hear you right, Lord? If that's you, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm your host, Kristen Duranci. I'm a wife, mom, ex-9-to-5er, and daughter of the King, who is using her voice and her online business to fight against the evil agenda going on in the world today. I believe your business is your battlefield. It's the how you get to show up to use your voice and kingdom wealth to fight against the injustice that God has placed on your heart. I believe God is calling women back into position, to a kingdom revolution, to the battlefield to find their voice, to stand firm for biblical truth, to be the change they want to see in this world. My battlefield? Restoring the family unit the way God intended and bringing mamas home so that they can be the one raising their warriors for the kingdom, making a living from their own passions and desires. To inspire, encourage, and equip kingdom women in business to be kingdom currency converters, taking the wealth of this world and converting it into God's kingdom economy. So join me each week as I dive into honest conversations about my journey, tactical tips, spiritual and mindset strategies, along with the step-by-step plan to empower you to take that step of faith, to partner with God, and to create, build, and scale your online business by His design. Because it's both strategic and spiritual, we have to have the right mindset, the right heart posture, and the right strategy to run a business by God's design. So if you're ready to say yes to all of this, you're not afraid to rock that status quo, to be part of a kingdom revolution, to stand up for what you are passionate about and believe in, then armor up with Ephesians 6 and put on the full armor of God, because you are a warrior for the kingdom and He is going to use you and your online business to do some pretty amazing things here on this side of heaven.
Hey, Kingdom Warriors. Welcome back to the Kingdom Revolution podcast, and happy Tuesday and happy Valentine's Day. I'm not one that normally pays attention to the Hallmark holidays, but I do want to say that I am so thankful for you. I am super thankful for you. And if you are on my email list, I sent out last night a Valentine's email with a thank you gift in that, just to say thank you for being with me, being on my email list, and being with me on this journey to helping Christian women create, build, and launch their online business by God's design. If you are not yet on my email list, head to the show notes, grab the Business Meetings with Heavenly Board of Directors guide, and then you will be on my email list. You will get that sent directly to your inbox. And if you want this fun little Valentine gift that I sent out yesterday, tonight, while you're listening to this tomorrow, Tuesday. So if you want that Valentine's gift, just hit that reply button and let me know that you just got on my email list. You'd love that Valentine's gift, and I will send that out to you. But thank you for being with me on this journey. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for sharing feedback with me about what you would like to see, what you would like to hear. and the struggles and everything that you're dealing with. I just love to hear feedback and to know how I can support you. So thank you. It's my chance right now to say Happy Valentine's Day, and I'm so thankful for you. All right, let's get into today's episode. I wish someone would have told me this in the beginning stages of my business. It would have made things so much easier. I just think my brain understands it this way, but now hindsight is 2020. Looking back, I can now see how I was kind of doing what I like to call the 3-point customer life cycle, but I really wasn't. I mean, I was, but I wasn't. And it'll make more sense when we get into the episode. It was kind of like an aha moment I had when I heard the statement that there's only really 3 things you need to focus on each month or each quarter in your business. And those 3 things are lead generation, nurturing your email list, nurturing your people, and sales. And I was like, wow, that's it. That's really all there is to this online business thing. Well, it's once you have a few things figured out and you have clarity and specificity on a few things, and we'll talk about those things. But really, that is it. That is what you do on a monthly, quarterly basis. And I coined it the 3-point customer life cycle because your customers go through a life cycle with you. And those 3 elements I just mentioned make up that 3-point customer life cycle. And that is what I'm tailoring and focusing on with the Online Business by God's Design roadmap. Once we clarify, and once you understand who you are by God's design, then you can create your online business by God's design. And the key to a successful business and doing it God's way is to focus on our ideal client, the person that we're called to serve, and where they are at with solving the problem that they have and getting the transformation that they want. And when we understand that it's just lead generation, nurturing them, and sales, that makes what we're trying to do so much simpler. But there's a few things you need to understand before we get into this cycle of lead gen, nurturing, and sales. We need to understand with absolute clarity and specificity who you are by God's design, your core values that you're bringing into your business, your movement, your mission that you're creating, that eternal return on investment you're creating here on this side of heaven. So basically, we get to understand, and you get to understand who you are by God's design before you can determine the online business by His design. We get to extract what your area of expertise is, what the Lord wants you to do on this side of heaven, which most of the time is our testimony and that transformational journey we have gone through. Then we need to understand how you can help someone, and then finally, who it is you're called to serve. So before we can get into this 3-point customer life cycle of lead generation and growing our email list and getting visible, and then nurturing the socks off our people, and then selling to them, we need to understand who you are by God's design, what your area of expertise is, and how you can help someone get the transformation that they're looking for and solve that problem, and then who you're called to serve. And it may sound a little bit backwards to you because what you hear in the online space from other entrepreneurs, online business coaches, whatever you call them, if you will first hear that them say, okay, well, who's your ideal client? Let's pinpoint and get specificity on who your ideal client is. And then how can you help them? And in my mind, that is backwards. The Lord already knows who He wants you to help. And He's already put the blueprint inside of you. And your testimony and the transformational journey you have gone on is how you can help someone. But before we can even get into that, I start with in my program and working with my clients who you are and extracting those core values you get to bring into your online business, that movement you're creating. That is how you niche down. You niche down by creating a movement that people can lock arms with. So, for example, that movement I'm creating is bringing mamas home to restore the family unit the way God intended. So you can be home raising your warriors for the kingdom, making an impact, and doing and being who God created you to be. You're called to the online business space for a reason, but you're also called to be a mom and a wife. And we can do all of that when we know that we're called and we step into the grace that God gives us, and we do it in His will, His timing, and that's the most important, in His timeline. And we lock arms with our heavenly board of directors, and we go to them daily for our business and life, which I mentioned at the beginning of this episode. Grab the business meetings, having business meetings with your heavenly board of directors free guide from the show notes, because that'll take you through powerful questions that you can ask daily even, but ask in your business so you can get clarity on what the Lord wants to do in you and through you with your online business. So we start with who you are, and then your testimony, what you've gone through, your transformational journey, maybe that knowledge or expertise that you have from a career, that hobby that you love, that God put in your heart, right? And then we extract that, and then we create a framework around it and how you can help someone go from A to Z, from pain to pleasure, to get that transformation they're looking for, and then who it is you're called to serve. First and foremost, who the Lord wants you to serve. You're bringing a heavenly solution down to an earthly problem. He already has that person in mind. And 99% of the time, it's you. A few years removed, a few months removed, right? And you get to figure out who that person is. But like I said, 99% of the time it's you. But where the world starts is, where do they shop? Where do they go to school? Or, what books do they read? And where do they show up? And what podcasts are they listening to? And that's really not important unless you're running Facebook ads, in my mind, and you're trying to target someone. We need to figure out with absolute clarity who this person is, how you can help them by your area of expertise and that blueprint that God put inside of you. And I think we've talked about that over and over and over again. So I'm going to move on, because I could talk and say that time blue in the face that we do things differently. We start with you by God's design, and extracting all of that to create your online business by God's design, because you have a calling, you have a movement, you have that holy fire of anger inside of something you want to see changed on this side of heaven, or removed. Or, for example, me fighting that mainstream agenda and the evil battle that we're seeing here in this world, and the tearing down of families and the tearing down of the identities of our children. It starts with us at home. That's why it's so important, that movement I'm creating where women are raising their hands and going, yes, I want to lock arms with you in this movement. That is important. That's something that I want too, as well as raising Christian women at a level in the marketplace where they're creating kingdom wealth so you can do more and give more and bless more. Oh, I get fired up. Yes and amen. Let's get back to that 3-point customer life cycle. Once you have absolute clarity on those things, then we can get a game plan in place of that lead generation and growing your email list and getting visible. The number one thing that I have seen in my clients, but also in myself, was being afraid to launch, or running a live launch, or doing a 3-day or 5-day challenge because we would launch to crickets over and over and over again. And I was told, and it's true, that a launch will build your email list. But a launch will only build your email list if you're running Facebook ads to that launch. Otherwise, we are spending so much time on social media. We're being a slave to social media, posting and adding value in Facebook groups, hoping that people will see our post, go to our page and see that we have something coming up, or get on our email list and grab our freebie. The lead generation is a slow process if you're using that type of lead generation strategy, which personally I don't think is a strategy at all. I think that is a way to get overwhelmed, burnt out, questioning your calling and give up, because that's where I was a couple years ago until I learned how to leverage the power of other people's relationships, hosting bundles, participating in bundles and summits, being speakers at virtual events, leveraging other people's audiences to grow my email list, fast without being a slave to social media and without paid ads. And hint, and if that's you right now, you're like, I already know all these things. I have my online business. Maybe you're already making some money. You have some one-on-one clients. You're already, the proof is in the pudding when someone hands over the card and you get them a transformation. People are paying you, but you're looking for the people. You're looking for the traffic. The lead generation is super important to constantly have a strategy in place to bring new people into your email list. And if that's you, like, yeah, that's what I need to focus on this quarter or in the next couple months, then I have a Visibility for Impact Club. It's a membership, but it's the Visibility for Impact Club that will be opening up by the grace of God this month in February. I'm putting the final touches on everything. Most of the mini courses are already completed. I have a Bundles with Impact. The Summits with Impact, that's a whole nother different program because that's a larger program, but the Visibility for Impact Club has, I can't remember off the top of my head, so don't quote me, like 6 mini courses in there on how to leverage other people's audiences and different visibility and organic growth strategies. And then you also get bi-weekly calls with me. There's so many things that you get: networking opportunities. You get first dibs on collaboration events, bundle summits that run across my desk. So that will be opening up very, very soon. It is only $7 a month and you can cancel at any time, but it is high value, high touch. I don't think you're going to want to, but gives you organic growth strategies. So no, that is coming. I'm so excited. Make sure you're on my email list so you don't miss out on that when doors open, but that will also be part of the strategy that I will merge in with the Online Business by God's Design roadmap when doors open to that as well towards the end of March. That will be opening in the end of March. And for those of you that are like, what happened to the membership? Yes, I had a membership. I have one-on-one clients. God told me to close the doors to the membership back in November. I didn't really know what he had planned on doing. I just been pruned and tuning into the Lord and still taking a few one-on-one clients here and there. But now it's the time to open doors to the Online Business by God's Design roadmap and bring in kingdom warriors who are ready to launch their battlefield plan and know that their business is their battlefield on this side of heaven. It's where you get to show up and use your voice and roar and use your voice and bring that heavenly solution down to an earthly problem and make impact and income. So that's the lead generation. The second part of the 3-point customer life cycle is nurture. You get to share value with your current audience. And nurturing it comes in all different shapes and forms. It's just not sending an email. It's just not showing up in the Facebook group. It's doing a few other things too, like sharing with your audience bundles that you participate in that are complementary to your niche, complementary to what you do. They don't compete with you, even though there's no competition in the kingdom. They're complementary to you. So for example, I serve, Christian women who want to start their online business, mostly mamas because of that movement and that mission I'm creating. So if I participate in a bundle that has like mom self-care or something like that, and I email that to my email list and say, hey, there's some gifts that I know that you'd probably love on homeschooling and self-care, that's going to nurture and bless my email list and those people on it. So it goes just beyond nurturing with email and sending emails on a weekly basis or showing up in your Facebook group or doing a podcast. It could be doing a blog, writing a blog, sharing a YouTube video, whatever that looks like. But I dig into a lot of that and help you develop a strategy as well in the Visibility for Impact Club, which I can't remember if I mentioned that. Those that join the Online Business by God's Design Roadmap will get the Visibility for Impact Hub for free for the time frame they're in the roadmap, and all those details will come in. It'll all wash out and make sense very, very soon. So we develop a strategy for you because every 90 day, every quarter, we meet and come up with a game plan for your 3-point customer life cycle. And then the last one is sales, which is making impact and income. You're actually selling to your people. And in some episodes coming up on this podcast, but also working one-on-one with my clients too, we really dig into that money mindset and selling, because you can't make impact without making income. The byproduct of the income that you're making is impact. You're changing people's lives. They're getting the results and the transformation. So that's it. Lead generation, nurture, and sales. And if you're multitasking right now, come back to me because this next part is super important, okay? You can't have one without the other. You can't. You just can't. Because if you aren't attracting more people to your list and you do not have a lead generation strategy and you're just nurturing and selling, there's going to be a point where people aren't buying anymore. Or you're going to have to create more offers to sell to the people that are on your email list. And that goes against the Power of One framework that I teach. Sticking with one offer for 1 year so you can really hone in on that amazing offer and tweak what you need to tweak and run the live launch and run this lead generation, nurture, sales, 3-point customer lifestyle until you perfect it, because it's not going to be perfect the first time. There's things that we're going to need to change and tweak and make better. So if you aren't having a lead generation strategy where you're bringing in more people to your list and you're just nurturing and selling, you're going to get to a point where people don't buy anymore. And then if you're just bringing people in and trying to sell for them and you're not nurturing, then there's probably going to be a disconnect because there's really not that trust factor there yet. You're bringing them in and you're just selling. So nurturing is super important to create that and trust factor, especially in today's economy and environment where people are leery just to hand over and purchase something, because after COVID, when tons of people just flooded the online space and oh, I can do a course. Oh, I can do this. There were a ton of quote unquote coaches or whatever, mentors or whatever they call themselves that created something, but they overpromised and underdelivered. So people got burned. And if that was you, I'm so sorry. Know that that's not right, because that's unfortunately just kind of what happened. But I hope that you can extend grace and take that time and that what happened and learn from it and move on. So if you're just bringing people in and trying to sell, then there's going to be a disconnect because that and trust isn't there. And side note, hosting summits, hosting bundles, participating in summits and bundles really do exponentially increase or accelerate that and trust factor through authority osmosis. Because think of your friend referring a restaurant to you because your best friend said, oh yeah, I went to this new restaurant. It was so good. This is the name of it. You need to check it out. You're more apt to go check it out, right? Because your best friend referred them. Say, yeah, I was there. I did it. It was absolutely amazing. That's kind of like what it is when you're participating or hosting in collaboration events and leveraging other people's audiences. That and trust factor rubs off onto you. And then the third part, if you're just nurturing and not selling, even when you're bringing people in, if you're just nurturing and not selling, then you're probably loving the socks off your people, but you're not making any money, which means your people might be feeling loved and have all these fuzzy feelings and just enjoy being on your email list or in your group, but they're not getting their problem solved. And you're not making an impact and you're not making any income, which defeats the purpose of having a business. So each part of the cycle needs to be working at all times in your business. There will be times when you focus on one of them more than the other, and it really just depends on what part of the customer journey, the customer life cycle, your email list is on. Where are they? And if it's an email list that isn't that engaged, that's okay. You can get them re-engaged. So if they're not engaged and you haven't been building your email list or really doing anything at all, my recommendation would be to find a summit to be a speaker at, find a bundle to participate in, or host your own virtual event or bundle, which you will be able to if you join the Visibility for Impact club, because we'll have all those resources and they're free to be able to do that. And then nurture them that way, but also bring in new leads. So the 3-point customer life cycle, the lead gen, nurture, and sales, is something you need to be thinking about, especially going into a launch, especially when you're going to open doors to your beta founding member program or your next program, open doors, whenever that is. We need to think about, okay, this is when I want to do this, and then reverse engineer back to what is going to be my lead generation strategy. How am I going to nurture them, and how I'm going to move them into the sales part of that customer cycle. And like I said, there's going to be times when you focus on one or two of them more than others. And for the nurture part, you're going to have a nurture email sequence. You're going to have your email strategy that is rolling, whatever you decide to do once a week, twice a week, whatever that is for you and what feels good to you. And you're probably, if you do what I teach, have a Facebook community where you're in there nurturing them, showing up with some content, and having a SEO strategy eventually. It's not something you need to do right at the beginning, where you show up on podcast, YouTube, or you're writing a blog in order to add value as well and nurture your audience that is following you. And then every quarter, you're going to determine how you want your sales cycle to be. Are you going to have a live launch? Are you going to do a boot camp? Whatever that looks like for you and your business. So just to recap, the 3-point customer life cycle: lead generation, growing your email list and getting visible; nurture, sharing value with your current audience; and sales, making impact and income. That is the 3 things to focus on each month and each quarter. It just simplifies everything and makes it so much simpler. And I'm all about simplicity and making an impact. So I pray that this blessed you today. If you found value in this episode and you feel that you have a friend that would just absolutely love it, I would be so happy if you would share this episode in the podcast with them. Have an amazing Tuesday. Have a great Valentine's Day tomorrow, and be blessed.
That's it for today, friends. Real quick before you go, if this podcast has blessed you in some way, the number one way that you can thank me is to leave a written review over on Apple Podcasts. The second thing you can do is take a screenshot of this episode or that review and tag me over on social media in your stories at Kristen Duranci. And then I will share you in my stories and give you a shout out. This not only blesses me, but you are creating a ripple effect by getting this message into the hands of others that might need to hear it. And know that there's only one you. Someone is out there waiting to hear from you. They're waiting for your message, your story, and your solution to their problem. You are the expert they're waiting to hear from. I want you to know this, feel this, and most importantly, be this. Never underestimate the impact and power that you have been given through the Holy Spirit. Be blessed, friend, and I'll see you on the next episode.